potential that you get rejected.
Work instead of having cocktail.
Lavish ones. You know, some of the solutions.
Considered to be the or, even though you set up a neighborhood killed so easily. So that's very important.
The January jobs report is out, and here to share the good, the bad, and the ugly is Rutgers University professor and chief economist William Rodgers III. Thanks for joining us today, Bill.
My pleasure. Great to be here.
We always look forward to that jobs report because it tells us where we're headed. What are the basics in this one?
Sure. So we had our 35th month of consecutive private sector job creation.
Yeah, that's good news.
So, yeah, it's marvelous. That's one positive. That's a good piece. Another piece of it is that a good positive piece is that the growth continues to be expanding. We had construction returning, and a large part of that we think was due to sort of a third month of growth due to Sandy recovery.
So even though it's slow, it's still growth.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the number in the private sector was about 166,000, which is right at this break-even threshold of 150,000 where you need each month just to keep up with sort of new high school graduates, new college graduates, and immigrants.
Right. Are there particular areas where it's growing?
Yeah, I mean, this month, the main numbers were in construction. Another industry was healthcare. We saw continue to grow. And healthcare has been fascinating, that growth has also sort of spread across this weak recovery and even during the recession. And then the wholesale retail trade sectors added jobs, significant numbers of jobs.
You got the baby boomers getting older, more healthcare needs.
That's right.
So that, of course, is going to spur a little more growth in healthcare.
Yeah, most definitely. When you look at sort of the Bureau of Labor Statistics projections, they try to project out over the sort of next 10 years in increments as to where those new jobs are going to be created. And sort of basically healthcare is one of the primary factors because of the sort of demographic trends. But what's fascinating is the healthcare increases that we've seen over these last few years. It's not baby boomer stuff right yet.
Really?
No, it's just more people demanding more health care, new innovations, new pills, all sorts of things that are coming on the market that are creating demand. Obamacare is probably going to be another factor because you're going to have an increased sort of need for managing medical records.
And folks doing more preventive medicine with the onset of Obamacare.
Yes, yeah, and that's a great point, because one of the things I talk about my intro to policy planning and health students is I'm trying to get them to make the distinction between health care and public health. And one of the beauties of Obamacare was shifting and changing our mindset from this is just a healthcare, an individual or a family set of decisions, to it's a public health problem. Diabetes is a public health problem. Obesity is a public health problem. Heart disease is a public health problem.
So we got to address those things early.
Exactly.
Let's talk about, there are a couple of charts that I wanted you to go over. The first one talks about what's happening corporate. We'll throw those up on the screen and talk about those. This is January's private sector growth. How do you, what jumps out at you when you look at these charts?
Well, the problem for me is that the month that the growth that we had in this month, 166,000 new jobs, we were hoping that it would continue to grow and show some acceleration. But if you compare this month's growth to the annual growth in 2012, the annual growth in 2011, this chart shows you that last month basically is less than that. It only exceeds, in this chart, the average growth over the 2010 years. So it looks like we sort of started to accelerate, got out of first gear, got into second gear, but this month's job report, we're still stuck in second gear. Okay. As one of my colleagues at the Economic Policy Institute said, this month's jobs report had the same old crap.
I hear you. Now we'll look at this other. This is a comparison of industries, I believe, and you talked about, again, construction being the biggest. But if you look at this, we've got January showing, well, a big disparity.
Yeah.
And so is this again just going back to the slowdown?
Or it's just it's also a slowdown, but it's just this weak, sort of just modest, tepid, depending upon your mood, this number of private sector jobs have been adding. And what this chart is trying to show you is that if you look at sort of the number of people who are actively searching for a job, so those who are unemployed, about 12 million, and you compare that to the number of job openings, basically there are about four people looking for every one job. And if you include this unprecedented number of Americans who are working part-time but want to work full-time, or there's 2 million Americans that they've stopped actively searching over the last 4 weeks, so they're out of labor force but they want a job, That number now jumps up to 7 people looking for one job.
Much
so
more competitive.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very competitive job market. Other people like to say the nexus of power lies within the employer.
Interesting. And when we look at employers,
Yeah.
are there things that are doing that you can look and you look at the future and say, well, what are they doing now to create more jobs? Are any of those indicators out there?
Well, I think one indicator in this report was that the temporary employment services industry, their numbers seem to have fallen off. They actually declined this past month. And in one level, this is important because it's suggesting that the job growth numbers of 166,000 new jobs, they're not in that temporary employment services. So maybe employers are still expanding their part-time workforces because they're not sure about Obamacare. They're not sure about, again, the fiscal cliff, sort of 2.0 that's going to hit us in March. But they're at least saying they're not picking up the temp agency to call and find people.
Right.
You know, they're starting to dial
There's
into
some
their
measure of permanence.
Exactly.
Well, that's good news. That's good news. Thanks, Bill. Always insightful.
Marvelous.
We'll
Thank
see you
you
again soon.
Thank you.